if they wanted to alter one, they'll probably alter the respiratory rate.
Right.
But that's not taking into consideration the volume of air that's drawn into the lungs in one breath. The best way to think about breathing is to think about how you eat food. And so, for example, the number of spoonfuls, if somebody puts a plate of food in front of you and they give you a spoon and you are going to eat all of the food off the plate, how many spoonfuls of food do you put into your mouth? Multiplied by the size of the spoon will tell you the volume of food that you've eaten off the plate. A dietitian is not going to focus in on the number of spoonfuls. And nor is the dietitian going to focus in on the size of the spoon. The dietitian is going to focus in on the volume of food that's been eaten off the plate. But when it comes to breathing, the focus has been on the respiratory rate, and that's akin to the number of spoonfuls. And the focus has not been on the tidal volume, which would be the size of the spoon. And the focus has not been on minute ventilation. So when we're working with people, we can change minute ventilation as what we want to do from a biochemical point of view. And we have people take a very, very soft, gentle breath coming into your nose and a really slow and prolonged and relaxed exhalation. And the objective is that it's almost that your breathing in is imperceptible. Can you breathe in through the nostrils, and can the airflow be so smooth that the fine hairs within the nostrils do not move? So it's almost that your breath is so subtle that there is no turbulence in the nasal airway. And at the top of the breath, you have a total feeling of relaxation, and you have a relaxed and a gentle breath out. And the objective is to take less air into your body. So the respiratory rate is reduced, but the tidal volume, you're also controlling the tidal volume. You're taking less air into the body so that you feel air hunger. And when you do that, pay attention to the saliva in the mouth. Within about 3 to 4 minutes, it's normal that you will have increased watery saliva in the mouth. How could that be so? Because when you breathe less air, carbon dioxide increases in the blood, and carbon dioxide stimulates the vagus nerve, as well as the prolonged and relaxed exhalation, which is stimulating the vagus nerve. And as the vagus nerve is stimulated, it secretes the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which causes a slowing of the heart. And the brain interprets then that the body is safe, and the body is prepared for the digestion of food. So whenever we have increased watery saliva in the mouth, the body is prepared for the digestion of food. We can downregulate by simply breathing less air, and that flies in the face of what has been spoken about and taught for decades. There are very few instructors in breathing teaching people to breathe less for periods of time during the day, but it's very important because the ironic thing about breathing less air, we have to bear in mind that some people have a habit of overbreathing, just as people can overeat. Now, if somebody is overeating, what is the dietitian going to say to that individual? Well, they're going to say to them, listen, I need you to eat less food. Well, for somebody who's overbreathing, that if the respiratory rate is too hard, too fast, and the tidal volume is too hard, that person is breathing too much air. The objective is to breathe less air. And for people to practice it, that would be targeting the biochemistry. And the objective is feel air hunger during the exercise and also pay attention to the temperature of your fingers. 20 years ago plus, I was lucky enough to come across this by accident. I always had cold hands and cold feet. I never realized that my mouth breathing and fast and shallow breathing was putting me into hyperarousal, but it was also causing my blood circulation to be impeded and oxygen delivery to be reduced. And it's ironic that when you breathe less air, your blood circulation improves. And also, because of the increased carbon dioxide, hemoglobin releases oxygen more readily to the tissues. So that's just a biochemical point of view. And then there are other strategies then from the biomechanics and resonance frequency breathing.
It's so interesting to see the consistencies among like anything that we do. So as we're eating, ideally, it probably wouldn't be that wise to just slam like a hoagie down your throat, like a snake eating a rat. Like that's not the way we work. I don't know how snakes breathe. That would be an interesting thing, actually. I wonder if they probably breathe pretty slow. I don't know. Do you know how snakes breathe? I think you've mentioned this
I
before.
don't actually know, but
Okay, I don't
typically
either.
there's a very interesting thing about breathing, respiratory rate, and longevity. Animals who breathe the slowest live the longest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. There's these golden threads through everything, and I think sometimes we get mired by all this technical information. Like, okay, I gotta get at this angle, and then I could put, and it's like there's so many details. We get lost in the minutia. And we just don't do anything. But that's such a beautiful, consistent thread of like, okay, like slow down the way that you eat. Allow your body to digest and absorb that food, and it will become better at digesting. Slow down the rate in which you're taking in air, and your body becomes better at breathing.